earnest, wrong, but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked, half opinions, in need of some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces doesn't mean new ideas. Drives me crazy. AOC has never introduced a fresh idea or issue in her.
Greg Gutfeld didn't just enter the political spotlight, he slammed into it like a full-force shockwave. And standing at the heart of the fallout, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the undisputed master of viral moments and self-assured swagger. But here's the twist nobody expected. This time, she isn't landing the blows, she's absorbing them. So what exactly did Greg reveal that left reporters stunned, social media spiraling, and the internet in absolute chaos?
There is nothing consistent with the Republican Party's continued attack except for the racism and incitement of violence against women of color in this. The Republican caucus threatened my life, and you all and the Republican caucus rewarded him with one of the most prestigious committee assignments in this Congress. Don't tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation of...
What Greg Gutfeld is firing at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez isn't a routine political swipe. It's a full-scale comedy blitz wrapped in sharp satire. Every punchline lands with late-night precision, hitting so clean the audience can't help but erupt. And let's be honest, AOC thrives on her reputation as Congress's headline magnet. No cape required, but the cameras are always locked in and the filters stay primed. Greg's breakdown doesn't just connect, it dazzles, flipping her theatrical style into binge-worthy spectacle that keeps viewers hooked, laughing, and stunned from start to finish.
Gets along with Bernie is because she's like an 80-year-old leftist in a used bookstore. I mean, you know, she may look fresh, but she's as stale as an abandoned futon on the street. It's like I listen to her, I go, I heard that at Berkeley in 1983. So their problem is, and the reason why they don't have any ideas is they operate on half opinions. Like, what if we get rid of cash bail? Oh, let's do it. What happens? You have repeat criminals wreaking havoc. What if we have sanctuary cities? Hey, let's do it. What happens? You have rapists and killers, you know, finding sanctuary, safe haven. What if we get...
If you're enjoying this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you can imagine. Save the planet, wipe out poverty, fix inequality, teach your hamster enlightenment, preferably before lunch. That's the whirlwind aura AOC projects, tossing out pledges like confetti at a flawless parade. Then Greg Gutfeld steps into view, one knowing smirk, and the illusion cracks. To him, this isn't fearless leadership, it's open mic theatrics dressed up as a movement. And here's the crushing beat. Greg doesn't just laugh from the sidelines, he charges the spotlight with a brutal mic drop, exposing the grand vision as more improv routine than real roadmap, unraveling faster than anyone can follow.
So their problem is, and the reason why they don't have any ideas is they operate on half opinions. Like, what if we get rid of cash bail? Oh, let's do it. What happens? You have repeat criminals wreaking havoc. What if we have sanctuary cities? Hey, let's do it. What happens? You have rapists and killers, you know, finding sanctuary, safe haven. What if...
The wildest part? It all starts to feel like deja vu. AOC charges in, glowing with self-made hero status, voice of the people, pitching rooftop gardens, no strings promises, and a sweeping revolution for all. Then Greg Gutfeld arrives, not armed with spreadsheets or policy talk, but with the sharp, knowing grin of the family joker who never lets an outrageous idea pass without a perfectly timed roast. His delivery? Unyielding. His timing? Surgical. And within moments, her grand crusade collapses, shrinking into nothing more than the ideal setup for his next cutting punchline.
I love how she explains it. They're not meant for you, right? But then you have to ask, okay, then what is this debt forgiveness? Who is it meant for? And when you look at the data, it's upper, white, middle-class, liberal women. This ain't welfare, right? These are well-to-do people. It's a bribe for Democrats on the backs of plumbers, truckers, and everyone else who actually does a real job, unlike me. AOC is the symbol of the entitled sponge. She complains about student loans, but she owns a Tesla.
Greg doesn't waste a second putting anyone to sleep with charts or dull graphs. No chance. Instead, he grabs AOC's flashy speeches, flips them like circus routines, and throws them straight into the fire of satire. All of a sudden, her billion-dollar vision stops sounding brave and starts sounding like a teenager handed an unlimited credit card with no supervision. But this is where the real hit lands. It's not just comedy, it's exposure. Greg pulls the curtain back, spotlighting the contradictions driving the performance, blasting capitalism while sipping upscale kombucha, showing off pricey hoodies, and broadcasting her truth with influencer-level polish. He zeroes in on how her biggest wins trend online instead of happening in Congress, because her real stage isn't the Capitol floor, it's the glow of live streams, ring light blazing, supporters cheering like she's headlining a festival. And when Greg spells it out, it cuts, because it echoes what many have quietly wondered. Maybe AOC is playing influencer more than lawmaker.
Think about what their ideas incentivize. That would be nice. So where are their ideas going to come from? Trump. The only way they're going to create a message is based on whatever Trump does. So I have some slogans for the Democrat Party.
Oh, wow.
The Democrat Party, when you're tired of success.
Okay.
The Democrat Party, make America suck again. Democrat Party, the first choice for illegals, vandals, and dead people.
Then come the receipts, and Greg has them stacked sky high, each one ready to scorch the illusion. He zeroes in on her prize centerpiece, the Green New Deal, and tears it apart, not as serious policy, but as a glitter-drenched wish list ripped from a dreamer's notebook. Free healthcare, free college, guaranteed jobs, maybe even freebies for everyone. It sounds magical until the hard question slams down. Who's footing the bill? AOC waves toward billionaires like they're an endless cash spigot, while Greg smirks and reminds her that reality still sends an invoice. In seconds, her paradise shifts from utopia to something resembling a relative's last-ditch crowdfunding pitch. Nice on paper, but wildly unrealistic. The slogans shine, but the structure rattles like a homemade shelf built without a level. And the aftermath? Pure spectacle. Conservatives repeat Greg's lines like gospel, while progressives scramble to shield AOC as if the future hinges on it, insisting Greg is simply being mean.
College tuition, that you got to take care of them. They're adorable dogs, but she owns a Tesla and she owns a French bulldog, and she wants you or your dad, the electrician, to forgive her student loan. That's BS. Turn in the Tesla, sell the dog. I'll buy it half price.
And sitting at the center of this chaotic clash, regular people laughing out loud. Because, let's be honest, Greg Gutfeld trading blows with AOC is more entertaining than half the so-called comedy streaming platforms keep rolling out. But beneath the laughs sits something sharper, a truth that cuts fast and clean. Comedy has always been one of politics' most effective weapons, and Greg handles it like a precision blade, slicing through rehearsed slogans and polished branding. He highlights how her ideas glitter online like flawless jewels, only to fracture when tested against the real world. That's the real sting. It isn't cruelty, it's accuracy. Greg asks the question everyone else avoids. Is this Congress or an influencer mansion with upgraded lighting? And the timing couldn't be better, because modern politics is performance. AOC plays the influencer, stacking hashtags and live streams like trophies, while Greg takes the critic's seat, turning every grand gesture into a comic collapse. And like any great roast, the laughter doesn't come just from the jokes. It comes from the uncomfortable truths buried beneath each punchline.
To get into a beef with the Twitter chief. On Tuesday, she tweeted, LMAO at a billionaire earnestly trying to sell people on the idea that free speech is actually an $8 a month subscription plan. That's a reference to Musk's plan to charge people $8 a month for verified blue checkmark status. But he hit back tweeting, your feedback is appreciated. Now pay $8. To be fair,
when Greg goes after her economic math, it's more than stand-up. It's a reality check disguised as laughter. His takedowns of her working-class champion image cut straight to the point, exposing the gap between fiery speeches and a noticeably polished lifestyle. And when he breaks down her Instagram-style activism, he isn't just cracking jokes. He's revealing how modern politics has slid into pure performance. The response unfolds exactly as expected. AOC fires back online, quick and sharp, keeping the clash alive instead of letting it fade. Sometimes she doubles down, other times she leans into outrage. Either way, every move pours more fuel on Greg's comedic fire. The cycle never stops. She speaks, he roasts, she snaps back, he escalates. A political ping-pong match the public can't stop watching. But beneath the noise sits Greg's hardest hit. Politics isn't about catchy slogans, it's about outcomes. And if you can't explain who's paying for your glittering dream, maybe it isn't a vision at all, just another viral post posing as leadership.
To be fair, she'd love to spend the $8, but she already bought a Tesla. He also tweeted a photo of some ugly AOC merch she's trying to hawk for $58. Overpriced merch, AOC. Seems pretty capitalistic of you, which according to you makes you evil. And according to anyone paying attention, also makes you full of.
That's why Greg's roasts land like body blows. They're not just funny, they're revealing. His punchlines cut straight through fiery speeches and Instagram theatrics, exposing the cracks in AOC's carefully polished image. And the audience can't look away because people are worn out by sweeping promises sold without receipts. Greg simply packages the hard truth in humor and hands it back with a smirk. When the laughter dies down, AOC's brand may still shine. She feeds on attention, whether it's praise or outrage. But once the curtain slips, there's no erasing what's underneath. That's the real reveal here. Not a single joke or jab, but a slow, deliberate stripping away of illusion. Gutfeld peels the glossy poster off her persona and puts the unfiltered version front and center. And when it clicks that her influence flows less from policy and more from performance, the spectacle changes. From inspiration to satire, part comedy, part warning.
I mean, first of all, $80 per theater. I made $80 in a theater and there wasn't even a movie playing.
Wow. What do you mean?
I don't know. It's no surprise. Who would go see a movie that's the opposite of entertaining? There's nothing entertaining about that. Michael Moore's colonoscopy is more entertaining than that because there's probably more twists. But it does show you how great it is to be a progressive in a liberal biased culture. She really doesn't do her job, right? She makes movies, she goes to galas, she sits for glossy butt-kissing interviews in GQ and other women's magazines.
And just when the sparks seem ready to die out, boom, AOC resurfaces on 60 Minutes. And suddenly it's round 2 of the Greg versus AOC saga. The curtain hasn't dropped and politics isn't slowing down. Neither are the punchlines. This isn't a one-off clash, it's an ongoing series. Every tweet, speech, or dramatic pause on Capitol Hill turns into Greg's next setup, pen sharpened and timing locked in. At this stage, politics feels less like leadership and more like improv comedy, funded by taxpayers and driven by applause. AOC casts herself as a modern Rosie the Riveter, fists raised, ready to take down billionaires and save the working class. But Greg's mockery lands with pinpoint accuracy. It's funny and uncomfortably familiar, like realizing you've been paying for a gym membership you never once used. Then comes her superhero turn, the climate crusader. She frames global warming like a blockbuster emergency, starring herself as the hero armed with a $1 trillion solution. In her storyline, the Green New Deal becomes a magic glove. One snap and suddenly planes run on hope, pollution disappears, and every building gleams like a flawless home makeover.
It's funny, that's mean. You're
right,
mean. You're being mean.
But I'm fascinated they thought there was an audience for this outside of like Earth Justice or the Justice Democrats, because who really wanted to go and see this thing? And then tomorrow you'll have an article that we'll have to talk about, which is that kids all over America are having nightmares about climate change. Well, no wonder.
Well, Jessica, what about the fact that the climate activists are very much enthused about what they do?
Greg Gutfeld doesn't buy the fantasy for even a second. He hears AOC's sweeping vision and flashes a grin as if to say, great pitch, now who's funding it? In that moment, her big ideas stop sounding like serious policy and start sounding like a crowdfunding page stacked with stretch goals like end poverty and fix everything. The genius of Greg's approach is that he never debates like a rigid policy nerd. He skewers like a seasoned headliner. He doesn't lecture about fuzzy math. He jokes that her budget looks like it was scribbled on a napkin halfway through Happy Hour. He doesn't complain about weak structure. He quips that it follows the same logic as a toddler's crayon artwork. That's why his takedowns spread so fast. Those one-liners stick in people's minds long after the laugh fades. While AOC's loyal crowd applauds, Greg laughs louder, flipping her serious proposals into comedy fuel. It's the ultimate mismatch. She shows up tossed tossing water balloons, and he walks in with a flamethrower. And the strangest part? Watching the media scramble. Friendly outlets rush to shield her, labeling Greg as harsh or dismissive, as if name-calling could smother the laughter erupting all over social media.
AOC was on 60 Minutes last night. Quite a feat for a newcomer. Must be all her great new ideas.
People are going to have to start paying their fair share in taxes. Once you get to like the tippy tops, on your $10 millionth dollar, sometimes you see tax rates as high as 60 or 70%.
What an expression. Now, the real story isn't AOC's very old ideas. It's the media's gushy view of her. Even with her old ideas, she gets on 60 Minutes. The past is called the future, and you better love it.
Meanwhile, conservative outlets can't get enough. They splash Greg's zingers across headlines, turning them into rallying lines and viral sound bites. And everyone else, we're watching with popcorn in hand, glued to one of the strangest pairings in modern politics. One framed as the activist turned influencer, the other as the sharp-tongued comic who never runs dry on punchlines. Together, they've created a spectacle more binge-worthy than anything streaming right now. But beneath the laughter, a heavier question hangs in the air. What does this circus actually say about our moment? On one side, AOC feeds on attention, praise, outrage, memes. It all keeps the spotlight burning, but once the illusion starts to crack, that shine fades quickly, and that's where Greg's humor cuts deepest. His jokes aren't hollow shots, they're reality checks delivered with a laugh. They remind viewers that hashtags don't fix crises, viral fame doesn't write laws, and speeches packed with passion still don't balance budgets. And maybe, just maybe, they point AOC toward an uncomfortable truth. Online stardom doesn't automatically translate into real power on Capitol Hill.
Delightful dancing video from last week. The media created a fake story that conservatives attacked her over this delightful trifle. Not really. In fact, the only stories written about the dance were by liberals using it to falsely smear the right. So the press creates a shield around her in which any criticism must be due to sexism or bigotry, when in fact it's in their heads and not ours. But this strategy works by preventing real criticism about her actual beliefs, which are retreads of horrible ideas from previous centuries. Socialism with a smile, fascism among friends, Venezuela meets vegan.
And here's the final twist. AOC isn't easing up for a moment. Without the drama, the flair, and those high-energy live streams, she wouldn't be the headline machine the internet can't stop buzzing about. And that's exactly why Greg keeps his focus locked on her. Strip away the theatrics and half his comedy fuel disappears. It's the strangest symbiosis in politics. She feeds his jokes, he amplifies her visibility, and everyone else sits back, popcorn ready, watching the chaos play out. But don't get comfortable. This saga isn't ending anytime soon. Every proposal, every viral clip, every heated rant becomes fresh material for Greg to spin into late-night ammunition. Think this round was intense? Just wait. Because if AOC is politics' ultimate influencer, then Greg Gutfeld is the heckler who never leaves the room. And in Washington's Endless Comedy Club, the mic stays live, the punchlines keep landing, and the spectacle rolls on.